I'm 98 years old, and the weight of my existence presses against my bones like a heavy wool blanket. My breath comes slow, deliberate, each exhale carrying decades of unspoken truths. You think you understand life, but you don't. Not yet. Not until time has scraped away your illusions and left you with nothing but raw, unvarnished reality. There are three truths I've learned that have carved themselves into my soul, deeper than any wrinkle on my weathered skin. The first truth is about time, that merciless thief that steals your moments while you're busy making plans. I spent most of my life believing I had an infinite supply of days, watching them slip through my fingers like sand, thinking there would always be another tomorrow to say what needed saying, to do what needed doing. I remember my younger self, full of ambition and pride, always pushing feelings aside, always thinking there would be a better moment later. Later. Such a dangerous word. Later becomes never before you realize what's happening. I watched opportunities vanish, relationships cool, dreams fade, all because I believed time was my servant, when in fact I was its slave. The second truth is about love. Not the romantic nonsense you see in movies, but the raw, vulnerable connection that demands you show your true self. Love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about being present, being honest, being willing to be hurt. I spent decades protecting myself, building walls, afraid of vulnerability. And for what? Loneliness. Cold, empty loneliness. My greatest regret isn't the risks I didn't take. It's the love I didn't give, the words I didn't speak, the hands I didn't hold, the vulnerability I was too scared to show. Love isn't something you save for special occasions. Love is the occasion. The third truth is about purpose. We're not here to accumulate things or impress people. We're here to leave something meaningful behind. Not material wealth, but wisdom, connection, understanding. Every moment you spend chasing external validation is a moment stolen from your true purpose. I've watched generations pass, seen technologies transform, witnessed humanity's remarkable capacity for both destruction and creation. And through it all, I've learned that purpose isn't found in achievements, but in how deeply you allow yourself to be human. If my words resonate with you, stay close. Listen. I don't have many stories left to tell, but the ones I have might just save you years of unnecessary suffering. Subscribe, because some truths are worth sharing, and time, my most precious resource, is running out. My breath catches in my throat a ragged whisper of memories. At 98, every inhale is a negotiation with time, every memory a landscape of shadows and light. The world has changed so dramatically, yet the human heart remains fundamentally the same. Fragile, searching, desperately wanting to be understood. I remember the war years when everything was uncertainty. Not just the external war with guns and borders, but the internal war we wage against ourselves. Young men sent to fight, their innocence traded for a handful of medals and broken dreams. I wasn't a soldier, but I fought my own battles against expectations, against the silent pressures of a society that demanded conformity. In those days, survival wasn't just about staying alive. It was about maintaining your essence, your core self, while the world tried to flatten you into something predictable. I watched friends surrender their passions, their true selves, to fit into neat social boxes, jobs they didn't want, Marriages without love, lives constructed like careful facades, beautiful from a distance but hollow at the core. My generation understood something that seems lost now, the profound value of silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of deep listening. We didn't fill every moment with noise, with constant communication. We understood that wisdom often arrives in the spaces between words, in the quiet moments of reflection. My work as an engineer wasn't just about designing machines, it was about understanding systems, about seeing how seemingly small choices create massive consequences. Every blueprint, every calculation was a meditation on interconnectedness. The same principle applies to life. Your smallest decisions ripple outward in ways you cannot imagine. There were times I could have chosen comfort over truth. Times I could have maintained pleasant illusions instead of confronting painful realities. But comfort is a slow poison. It numbs you, makes you forget that life is not about avoiding pain, but about transforming it into understanding. I've seen technology replace human connection, watched screens become windows into artificial worlds, while real connections wither. Young people today think they're more connected, but they're mostly just simultaneously alone. Connection isn't about the number of digital friends, but about the depth of genuine human presence. My wife, she understood this better than anyone. Margaret. Her name still makes my heart pause. She wasn't just my partner. She was my mirror, my conscience, the person who saw through my professional armor to the vulnerable human underneath. When she died, she took half my language with her. Some losses cannot be described, only felt. At 98, the landscape of my memories is a terrain of quiet revelations and unspoken battles. The world thinks aging is about losing, but it's actually about gaining. Gaining perspective, gaining wisdom, gaining the brutal honesty that comes when you no longer need to impress anyone. My relationships were never perfect. No one's are. But I learned that imperfection is not a failure. It's the very texture of human connection. My children, they didn't always understand me. And for decades, that distance felt like an open wound. And I was a father who worked too much, who believed providing meant giving money instead of giving myself. There was Michael, my eldest. Brilliant mind, sharp as a razor, but we spoke different languages. His dreams were academic, mine were practical. I wanted him to build things, to see the world through the lens of tangible creation. He wanted to explore ideas, to live in the world of thought. For years, our conversations were like two parallel lines, close, but never truly intersecting. And Sarah, my daughter, she challenged every traditional expectation, broke free from the constraints society tried to place on women in her generation. I didn't always understand her rebellion, but I came to respect her fierce independence. She taught me that love isn't about agreement, but about seeing the person behind the choices. Regret is a heavy companion in these late years. Not the dramatic, movie-worthy regrets, but the small, quiet ones, the missed dinners, the times I chose work over a family moment, the conversations left unfinished, the I love you said too quietly or not said at all. But regret, I've learned, is not a punishment. It's an invitation to understand, to forgive, first yourself and then others. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past, but about refusing to let it hold you hostage any longer. My body is a map of scars, both visible and invisible. Each wrinkle, each line tells a story of resilience. I've survived economic crashes, personal losses, health challenges that would have broken a lesser spirit. But survival is not about being unbreakable. It's about learning to rebuild yourself, piece by piece, or with whatever materials life has left you. If you're listening, and this speaks to something deep inside you, stay close. Some stories are meant to be shared, not as lessons, but as quiet companions on your own journey. There's space here for your story, your struggles, your path to understanding. The world moves fast, but wisdom, true wisdom, moves slowly. It accumulates like sediment, layer by layer, experience by experience. And sometimes the most profound truths are the ones whispered, not shouted. At 98, death is no longer a distant concept, but a companion sitting quietly in the corner of my room. Not threatening, not morbid, but present, like an old friend waiting patiently for our final conversation. The last chapters of life are not about grand revelations, but about distilling everything into pure essence. What truly matters emerges with startling clarity when you know your time is finite. Not achievements, not possessions, but moments of genuine connection. The touch of a hand, a shared silence, the unspoken understanding that passes between two souls who have traveled long paths together. I've watched my body become a museum of memories. Each scar, each wrinkle a testament to battles fought, some external, most internal. The wars we wage with ourselves are far more brutal than any conflict between nations. I fought against my own limitations, my fears, the expectations that tried to shape me into something I was not. There's a profound liberation in these final years when you realize that you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. The masks we wear throughout life of success, of perfection, of constant strength, they become unbearably heavy. Here at the end, all that matters is authenticity, the raw, unvarnished truth of who you truly are. I think about legacy differently now. It's not about what you leave behind in material terms, but the ripples of understanding you create. The moments when you truly saw someone, the times you chose compassion over being right, the instances when you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. My greatest lesson? Life is not a journey of achievement, but a journey of becoming more human, more connected, more willing to feel deeply, to love without reservation, to accept the beautiful imperfection of existence. If my words find you, if they touch something inside you, remember this. Your time is now, not tomorrow, not when you're perfect, not when all conditions are ideal, now. This moment, breathe into it, live into it. If something in my story resonates, stay close, listen. Some truths are worth sharing, even when the storyteller knows his time is drawing to a close. Subscribe because some journeys are meant to be shared. Some wisdom is meant to be passed on. And time, my most precious resource, is running out. What will you do with the moments you have left?